with Dade County Federal Credit Union.
Thanks for having me. Happy to be here.
My pleasure. So these are tough economic times, and I understand the credit union has a special program to offer to businesses. So can you tell us about that?
Yeah, definitely. So I'm here to talk about the Rise Miami-Dade Small Business Loan Fund.
And that's RISE.
RISE, it stands for Reinvesting in Our Small Business Economy. It was a public-private partnership between Miami-Dade County Board of County Commissioners, the Dade County Federal Credit Union, which is a CDFI, and then 3 local CDFIs, Miami Bayside, Axion USA, formerly known as Axion USA, which is a Sindus, and BBIF. And the idea is was seeded with $25 million from the county to support the small businesses throughout Miami-Dade County. So we're doing loans up to $45,000 to help businesses weather the storm of this current pandemic.
So there was some money that was offered, as we discussed here last March, and most people at that point were so overwhelmed. And,
yeah.
It's like people were frantic and everybody did the best job they could do.
Right.
And so here we are now 9 months later, and we're going, all right, we can see the sun, it's coming up, all right? We see that. It's going to be.
We can't wait.
Yes, it's going to be shiny days down the road. But in the meanwhile, there are tens of thousands of businesses in Miami-Dade County that are struggling every day with the shift of the economy. The people that you want to lend money to, what's the size range so that they won't be intimidated?
Sure. So we're looking for small businesses. And so those are the mom and pops, but even some little bit larger businesses. The qualifications for us are for the business needs to be located in Miami-Dade County. The business owner needs to be located in Miami-Dade County, less than 50 employees, and under $5 million in revenue. And so there's about 90,000 small businesses throughout Miami-Dade County. Some received some funds from some of those other programs. Some of those didn't. We're looking to help out both of those. So if they've received PPP or EDIL, we're still looking to support those businesses.
So one of the things that happened recently is that the regulations, the qualifying measures change. You reduce the minimum requirement. So before it was originally it was up to 2 million, so now it's up to 5 million.
Right.
And before minimum score, now 520 versus the original 575.
Right. In running this program, we realized that everybody, the effects of the pandemic. We thought we were going to be out of this in April, or it was only going to last a couple months, and it's lasted a lot longer. That has a major impact on folks' credit scores, and we realized that and wanted to make sure that this program stays inclusive for all of Miami. So we lowered the score and increased the size and scope for the businesses to help out as many people as possible.
So was the county involved in shifting those regulations, make it easier, or is that something you did from a financial institution point?
Both. So again, this is a real true partnership. There's some folks from the county that are on our board, and it's an advisory board. So they gave us guidance, and we all talked and had a conversation and really saw what was happening, trying to keep our pulse on the community, and decided to make that change.
And by the way, folks, when people come in the building, we take the temperature, wash your hands, and we have a piece of glass between us. Some people don't know that it's glass. They think it's just a line that's there. And by the way, we have, I like this one. Where are we? Over there. Free press. Amen. All right.
Amen.
So, and at the beginning in March, and as you pointed out, people's credit score, might have been
a little bit higher. Yeah.
Right. And so now here it is months later, and people have to decide, what am I going to buy first?
Right.
Am I going to pay for this? I'm going to pay for this. And we've also recognized once the economy starts to improve, this is not like a light switch.
No.
This is a while for this to happen. All right.
Yeah. People will still be, I think, apprehensive to go outside as much or to participate and do things the same way. And then things have changed. I think that, everybody realizes how important technology is and being able to get your message across or to people without them necessarily having to come to you. And so we hope that businesses are able to pivot and be able to continue to bring in revenue. But we wanted to make sure that we were able to help out as many businesses. And that's why I'm here. We want to make sure we get this message to the community in front of those hardworking people that make and are the fabric of Miami-Dade County.
So MJ, think about this. It took most of us in the business to figure out how to have a curbside pickup. Like that was like something that was absolutely brilliant. It's like, wait a second. I would, I hate to say this, I would be in the car pre-COVID. My wife would go shopping. I would pull up in the car and she would get in. I'm going, that's perfect. Now it's the other way.
Sit there. I had that same issue with my sister, so I understand completely. Yes.
So part of that is sometimes these very little things make a big difference. Right?
True.
before you could have a friend go shop for you. Now you just pay somebody to go shop for you.
But I mean, you have to think about this too. Business is all about solving a need, right? And before folks could come in, so I think that the business solves the problems, right? So that wasn't a problem. So I think people weren't thinking about curbside pickup and how that could work, or bring people to their store or get products around.
Listen, I've been at plenty of stoplights. There are people selling flowers and bottled water. We should have.
They were ahead of the curve. Yeah, they were ahead of the curve.
So if somebody's watching and they say, "Listen, how do I get some of this money?" What should they do?
Rise Miami-Dade.com. That's the website. Again, it's Rise, RISE, Miami-Dade.com. Go there. The application is simple.
Well, hold on one second. Hey, Tommy, could you put that up? Okay.
So perfect. RiseMiami-Dade.com. Go there. Fill out the information, the application, a CDFI. So those are community development financial institutions. The credit union is also a CDFI. And the primary purpose of CDFIs are to be what I would maybe sometimes a friendly lender, or to really work with you to help out low and moderate income communities, minorities, and really provide and offer financial tools and instruments, right? So that could be a loan, that could be a checking account, those different types of things, but to make sure they penetrate the community and reach everybody. And so go to the website. We also have Instagram, Facebook, all those things. You can find us, but apply. Someone will reach out to you in the next day or so, collect your documents, and hopefully get you funded before the end of the year. We're really pushing to have folks all apply before December 30th, because December 20th is the last day that we're accepting applications. So apply today, apply tomorrow, but get your application in.
And also, one of the things that's happened is you increase the maximum loan. It used to be 30,000.
It was 30,000, so now we're up to 45.
And what are the qualifications, more or less, to be able to borrow the maximum, which at this point is 45,000?
Right. So one of the things is we have. I'm a firm believer you can lend too little money and you can lend too much. And to try to do this quick, fast, and efficiently, it's tied to how much your rent is. So you can borrow up to 6 times your rent. And so the idea is that the largest fixed cost that a business has typically is rent, right? Outside of payroll. And payroll, you can get rid of employees. You can't necessarily get rid of your location. And so 6 times your rent is what they're able to borrow. So if they have a certain amount of rent, $6,000, $10,000, they can get up to that $45,000 max.
And when do they have to start paying it back?
Not till February 2022.
So a year and a quarter.
Yeah.
Almost.
One of the things that we realized and had conversations about, again, that partnership, not knowing necessarily when this was going to be over. And you pretty well articulated that it's not going to be, this is over and everybody is back at the mall, right? It's going to take a little bit of time. So knowing that we're not asking for any payments until February 2022, there's no prepayment penalties. And so at the 3.25% interest rate, which is the Wall Street Journal prime rate, which is what banks lend to their top tier clients, we really think that this is a truly inclusive, easy, simple, and efficient program, and we want everybody in Miami to be able to access it.
So MJ, so if somebody borrows $45,000, payments should start in a little bit more than a year. What's the monthly payback on that, more or less?
I know for the 30 it was $520. For the 45, I should be maybe a tad bit quicker to that one on the math, but I would say you're talking around $650.
Around here, that's pretty fast.
Yeah.
All right. Tommy's gone, I'm good at that. So can you share with us how you got into this field?
I would say I'm a combination of both my parents. My dad has always been a business guy and worked in finance for quite a while. Bank of America, he works for a bank now. He worked for Morgan Stanley for a little bit. And my mom was a teacher, was always involved in the community. She does fundraising for a university. And so I worked in wealth management for a while. I had no Black or brown clients. I worked for a CDFI when I first got out of school, so those community development financial institutions, and loved it. My degree was actually in IT. And I worked there, and I really wanted to get a better financial awareness, understanding. Worked for a couple of the big banks, spent the most of my time at the Bank of Montreal out in Seattle. And got an opportunity to come down here to run a CDFI in Miami. Of course, who turns down Miami with the weather and the beauty? And just really kind of fell in love with the work. I really think that there is a way where you can make money and still do good. And I think that financial tools, whether that's a loan, investment account, are for everybody. I think that everybody should have equal access to those to make money for their families.
So does your particular credit union involved with CRAs?
So there's CRA, which is a Community Reinvestment Act, in which banks provide those financial resources to low-income communities. We are a low-income designated credit union. So all of our specifically, so all of our activities are based around that. And so I couldn't be happier to be at a better institution that's really, stepped up to do something good to help, the small business in Miami-Dade County. Miami-Dade County is the greatest small business community, and this is just not me saying this. This is in Forbes magazine, in the United States, and that's what really makes the fabric of the community. So I couldn't be happier to be at a better place that stepped up to try to take this on and to make a difference.
You mentioned about brown and black customers.
Mm-hmm.
Explain that if you could.
And so I think that with some of the things in the past, redlining. There aren't as many banks that you see in some of those communities. It's really important that they're able to have access to those types of things. As we move to the 22nd century, whatever it would be, we all realize how important technology is. How would you be able to buy certain things? There's some places that no longer accept cash, right? Because one, cash touches everybody, so we're moving further and further away from cash. If you don't have a checking account and a debit card, how do you go in the store and buy something? How do you buy a book bag for your kid? How do you even pay for the education? How do you get the money there? So you kind of lock them into a box,
So one of the things we recognized, maybe it was 30 years ago, paperless society. Was it cashless?
Cashless society?
Right. And that's probably 25 or 30 years ago. We were all laughing. Oh, sure.
Yeah, never.
And for folks who don't know this, in the old days, you had a credit card, you'd have to run it to a machine or call an 800 number, and they would give you a code number.
Right.
Now you just put your watch and you go like that.
Even the credit, I talk about checking accounts and the debit card, but we're not having a credit card, right? So you're kind of locked out of the financial system. So being able to offer those, again, tools and resources to those communities is hugely important.
You were recently on Race to the Top with Miriam. Tell us about, if you could, some of the things you talked about there.
I mean, we talked about this program, this program, the Rise Fund, but we also just talked about equity and inclusion on a financial level. I worked again in wealth management for quite a few years, had no black or brown clients. And in that also, I realized that the most clients, their wealth was amassed because someone in their family at some point in time owned a business, or they themselves owned a business. There were only a few people that had worked and got to the top tier of corporate America, CEO at Fortune 500 companies that were our clients. And so you can't really also pass down a job, right? You talk about assets. You can have a business, and even if it's not the most successful, it doesn't make you a billionaire. But if you're doing pretty well, you can still pass that business down. It can continue to grow and grow and grow. Compounding is what Einstein says. One of the you're supposed to help me out with that one. Compounding is one of the 7 wonders of the world, right? And so a business can compound and grow, and so it's really important that we're able to start businesses, have businesses, and to finance those businesses.
So some of these people that have borrowed money from you, some of those people there, all right, are building a future for their family.
Exactly.
And the kids don't even know it yet.
Exactly.
But we know it.
All right. And that's why it's important to support. And this is something that no one could have ever pictured in a million years, right? And so the credit union, the local CDFIs, the county, I think stepping up and saying, although the federal government, I think, did as best they could with the programs, and I think that EDIL and PPP have helped a lot of businesses, Miami-Dade County, in partnership with the credit union, stepped up and said, we also want to make sure that our community is taken care of.
One of the things that community newspapers has been about for decades, all right, is community and local. And we recognize that from our father, who's started the paper. And 35 years ago, we supported the local community council, which is the local zoning board. Then we supported local chambers of commerce. Then we supported the local cities. And all that creates community and people that care more about their neighbors, right? It's just the way that it is.
Yeah.
Right? Just like there's 13 county commissioners, and they each have an area because that's the way people connect.
Yeah.
So what are some of the things that you do, the organization do, besides lending money so people know about you and about
the credit union?
The credit union.
The credit union, we offer the full suite of, financial products that you would find at any bank. One of the big things about credit unions is that bank XYZ, is usually publicly traded, and they are beholden to their shareholders, right? They want the people that have shares of that stock on the stock market to make money. A credit union is beholden to the actual member. So every member has a share of the credit union. So they are extremely community involved. And everything we do is not thinking about some wealthy guy or some investment company that has a big portion of the credit union. We're thinking about the individual members, the county workers, the FP&L folks, whoever is a member of the credit union. And so affordable housing, all of those, the suite of financial tools, debit cards, credit cards, auto loans. I think we have some of the most attractive auto rates I've ever seen before in my life. And then now this program in our commercial lending, and this program, the one other thing about Rise that I do want to mention is that we really anticipate Rise being here in perpetuity, right? We're not going anywhere. And so we will continue to be active in the small business space in Miami-Dade County, in perpetuity, forever. And so I think that the credit union, is a great place. We have quite a few branches throughout the county.
Can you name some of them? Where they are?
Miami Gardens. We'll be opening one soon downtown. My office is in Sweetwater, Doral. So, come open an account. We would love to have you. And please apply at risemiamidade.com.
So when somebody can walk in, whether they're walking virtually or walking in the front door, and that person that's there understands the local market, that's what makes the difference.
Yeah.
Right. Years ago, we were with a rather large bank, and then I went to a locally owned one. All the difference in the world. All right, you're there. All right, people are happier. My finding was on the big ones, the people that were on the floor, they're all under 25 years
Sure.
old. And I just walked in, I went, I really got disconnected. On the other hand, when I saw people that were that had lived life a little bit, and I knew that they lived nearby.
Yeah.
All right, it's certainly much more comfortable. So if people want to find out about the credit union, they can go to
dcfcu.org. So it stands for Dade County Federal Credit Union. And you can also find a link to that at the risemiamidade.com website.
And you're in pretty good shape. What sort of sports are you involved with?
I'm a wildly
okay, guys, let's hear it.
Basketball fan.
Is that right?
Yeah. That was my love as a kid growing up. I still play every now and then. I think one of the beautiful things about Miami is it's so beautiful. There's some beautiful basketball courts out here. So I try to get out here on the weekends every now and then.
And Tommy behind he's a what do you call an oddsman?
Like a football prognosticator.
Yeah, there you go.
A football prognosticator. Wow, I like that.
And
one.
so I listened to him. I'm going, wow, listen to him, right?
Yeah.
And all the not basketball, but the different sports and different teams. So it's pretty amazing.
Awesome.
And so you grew up in Canada?
No,
Washington.
No, so I actually grew up in the Midwest. I was born in St. Louis. I moved around a lot. My dad got a lot of awesome opportunities when we were younger, and so I lived in Denver, Chicago, LA, Kansas City, Seattle, and now Miami.
By the way, my son went to graduate school at WashU.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
So you've been out there?
Yeah, we went over there. And since I happened to bring it up, right?
Yeah.
So what he goes, he's got his MBA, he's graduating. There are only 340 students in the graduate program.
Wow.
So we were in the stadium, in the basketball stadium, and I'm doing videos. My wife is on the other side, got all those stuff together. So we put together, it took me 3 months, the trip from a Thursday to a Monday. So we put together the video. So now we're done, all right? From the time we got off the plane till we got back here. And then we put together all the pictures and videos we had from the day he was born, now through graduate school, all right? The joke around here was, one more change. We just got one more change. 4 months, I work at it. I guess, come on over the house. I put it up on the TV. He won't even look up at it. Right? Finally, I go, listen, one day you're going to appreciate it.
Yeah, somebody will appreciate it.
Yeah.
I appreciate it for you.
Yeah, there you go. So tell us about your family.
So I've got a little brother and a sister. I think my parents have the best places to visit in America. I live in Miami. My sister lives in LA. My brother lives in New York. My parents are in St. Louis.
Wow.
So, once this is all over, I think that we'll go on some nice family vacations and visit everybody.
So maybe at fall time we'll be able
to.
Hopefully.
We'll
be able to do that. So if somebody wants to walk into one of your branches, tell us what you do as far as protecting them and your staff.
Oh, we've gone to, all of the lengths. We've complied with all the CDC guidelines. We have glass and all the partitions. The spaces are cleaned every day. And so it's a really safe place to be. But then also, too, It's 2020. You can do a lot of those things online, so
Yes.
or through the phone. We have an amazing online banking, so
Again, I'm glad you brought that up because when some of our salespeople, they say, I have to go see people. I said, let me ask you, do you have customers that you've never seen? Yes. Does it matter if they're in North Miami or South or out of the country or wherever it is? I said, you have Gmail. That's not here. I don't even know where it
Could be coming
is,
from anywhere.
right? And so finally, after we go through all the steps, all right, so we have a phone system, you have a phone. That's not here, it's somewhere else.
Yeah.
So all this business that we've actually been doing, it's just that the options for visiting people got cut less. And there are plenty of organizations throughout the country that you're able to do it online, all right? And now that people are doing more and more things online, you realize that it's okay to do that.
It is
right?
okay to do that, yeah.
And
it's safe, it's secure. I could not have done this without Mo and some of the guys from our IT team. And so, we really understand that that's, hugely important. And that's where everything is going. Every, financial institution is making their investments in fintech and, all those different types of things to make it easier and safest as possible.
So let's look at your organization from last March, pre-COVID, to now. What are some of the changes you've made in your organization because of COVID?
So I can only speak about recently. So I'm new to the credit union. With this program has really introduced me to the credit union. I really couldn't be happier to be there. I mean, some of the changes that we made, of course, are this program. I think the credit union stepped up and always having the back of Dade County, right? That's why it was created. The membership has a lot of county employees. And so this Rise Fund, stepping up and saying, we want to be the ones to be able to administer this, make some of the decisions and do the work. I mean, we've done and funded over 400 small businesses in Miami-Dade County. That's a huge undertaking with all this going on, people working from home, and a brand new program.
So what is something that you've learned out of COVID?
So I've learned how to make candles. It's much, much easier than anyone would ever think. Never buy a candle. You can make it yourself. It's very, very easy. What else have I done? Tie-dyeing. I've done some reading. Cooked a lot more vegan dishes. I'm trying to eat less meat. So I think that, during quarantine, you kind of have to look within and learn some new skills. And I think that I've learned a lot from this program. There'll be good days, bad days, but you just have to keep chipping away at it.
So what I'm hearing is there are a lot of people that suffered. You have a solution to part of their issues, which is how are we going to get this funded so we can stay in business, right? So I was asked by Rabbi Yossi Harlech, hey, Rabbi, he asked me, Michael, what 2020 are you living in? The one from yesterday back or the one that's forward?
Good question.
All right.
I'm going to say I'm living in the future. I'm living in the one that's coming up, trying to make the right decisions. I think that one of the best things I learned in wealth management and working through the last financial crisis is that, and I think Warren Buffett has a quote about, if you're making emotional decisions with your money, you're making the wrong decision. And you really have to sometimes not to take any of the seriousness and pain away from what's happened. But you do have to take a step back and say, okay, thinking about this without any emotion, what are the options? And also in times like this, an economic downturn, a lot of opportunities open up, right? Some businesses have done better. All of them haven't, but you have to take a step back, look at the opportunities. This fund would have not been created if this had not happened, right? So you have to take advantage of the opportunities, take a step back. So I'm trying to take a step back, look at 2020, the rest of it that we have left, put as much effort and time as I can in touching as many small businesses to make sure that they're able to access these funds, getting in their applications before December 20th. And then in 2021, really what is the next step and the next thing that we can do at the credit union, at the Rise Fund to help out these businesses.
And as the businesses are figuring out what to do, I'd like each of them to look back to the way that it was and the way it could be. My wife used to volunteer at the women's prison. She would teach the Torah to Jewish women that were there. And then COVID came and she couldn't do that anymore. And in a matter of a month,
Figured it out.
She was sitting right here, reaching about 6,000 people a month, all right, versus 20 a month.
Yeah.
So that's where you have to be able to move forward and say, this is the way it is. And we see the Dade County, God bless them, they're going to start allowing county the restaurants to be able to be on sidewalks and inside their parking lot as long as it's okay with the landlord. They want to extend that. I think they voted the other day for another year and a half to say, okay, if the state says you can't have only 50% on the inside, you can add another 10 tables on the outside as long as the weather is good. All right. That's fine. And so we each need to do that in our own lives. What do we need to do?
Take that step back. What doors are open? You know,
Yes.
You got to go through the open doors the best you can.
And MJ, we're going to wrap up in a second. And one of the things we'd like you to do, and looking at that camera there, I want you to know there's a young man or young woman that's listening right now. And I'd like you to talk to him for a minute about life and about tomorrow's.
About life and tomorrow's. Okay. I think life and tomorrow's. Figure out what you want, make a plan. And stick to the plan. And there's always an option. And sometimes in the darkest of days are your brightest opportunities. And so, remain diligent. Don't let your emotions overrun your decisions. Save your money and invest your money. I have to say that. But walk through the doors that are open as confidently and as ready as you possibly can, and you will be successful.
That's tremendous. I wanted to point out to people, we have done about 1,000 shows.
Oh, wow.
Right? It started in this room before COVID, with one little iPhone and one little stand in that corner. And we realized that there was a thirst for it. And when COVID came, we were ready for it. Right? And that's what each of us need to do. Say, what do we need to do to get to this next place? You have a lot of words of wisdom. Thank you very much for being here.
Thank you so much.
And our guest today is MJ Green with the Dade County Federal Credit Union and the Rise program. If you need to find out about how you can get some money, where I think we're right over here, where you can get some money, the RiseMiami.com, and you can fill out the application. If you want to speak to MJ Green, you can find his phone number. All right. and I got to tell you, a gentleman's gentleman. Thank you very much for being here.
Thank you.
And Tommy, thank you for the show, folks. Again, this is Live with Miami's Community News. Have a great day.